Hello, everyone. Yeah, no worries, man. We're here, and I'm going to read this because I forgot it already. Moving mainstream, how big brands are using NFTs. I think this is going to be an interesting conversation. And they picked the right moderator, so expect hard questions.
Definitely.
Let's start from the far side. You let everybody know who you are, how they can reach you, and your elevator pitch / soft shell, hard shell, whatever you want to call it. Let's go.
Hi everyone, my name is Matt Mason. I am Chief Content Officer at Palm NFT Studio. I'm also co-founder of a project called Broadside. I'm here to talk about Palm NFT Studio and working with big brands, which is what we do. We do a lot of projects for some really major IPs, most notably DC Comics, the Backhouse community, and Universal Music Group, and lots of other sort of large global brands who are trying to get into Web3. So I will be mostly talking about that today, I think.
Yeah, you're good. Yeah. For the sake of time, just go with it.
Hi, I'm Carla Wilhelm. I'm VP of Communications at How Labs. We are a marketing and communication agency and product lab. So we've worked with some of the big brands in this space like Immutable X, Binance, Bybit, and lately with all the NFT picking up, we've worked with Doja Cat, Quentin Tarantino, and a lot more. So I'm very excited to share about my experience. Yeah, that's it.
Love Bybit. Max bidding. You better believe it.
Testing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I'm on the right panel. So hi everyone, my name is Sophia. I'm the current head of gaming at LedgerLink Labs. Came into the space around 2017. I was doing my degree in aerospace, decided F that, I want to go into Web3. So I started as an Ethereum developer, and then I worked in incubating the first Web3 games, so like the games that kind of look like your uncle used to play back in the 90s with a lot of tokenomics. And then I worked with Polygon. I was their Web3 gaming lead, was one of the first gaming people that was hired there. And I decided I wanted to work more closely with projects, made a lot of observations, kind of created my thesis and kind of wanted to run with that. So what we do is mainly also working with IP, but also finding ways to meaningfully bring in like traditional IP into the space, and also figuring out sort of how do you kind of cancel the noise and do something that's meaningful with intrinsic value to the community? Because we've seen, I mean, with the crashes, everyone kind of goes back to their community and cultures, subcultures. So we're trying to bring those cultures into Web3 in a way that makes sense to them as well. And yeah, super happy to be on this panel with all these hopefully interesting people.
Hopefully interesting.
Sounds interesting.
Sounds interesting.
So far, so good. So far,
Yeah.
so good.
Well, it depends.
Then
like,
it's me now.
You finish it off. Let us know how
you
interesting you are,
interesting?
Preston.
I am not that interesting. I'm Preston Wu. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer and Chief Financial Officer for a company called Taffy. We have a couple different brands, also known as Daz 3D. We also partner with large mainstream companies. We've partnered with Matt Mason and Palm on the Bat Cowls for DC Comics and Batman. We've also partnered with a company called NFTs and Warner Brothers and HBO for Game of Thrones, which we're going to be doing for a little bit. We also worked with Coca-Cola. We did a handful of NFT drops for them. Estee Lauder, Champion, Louis Monet, watch brands. We're going to be announcing something in a couple of days with Timex and Yuga Labs. So, and Bored Ape. So we like doing that. We've been around for 20 years actually. So we have software, 3D software that's used by millions. We have a creator community. We have hard tech. We did all the 3D avatars for Artifact, which got acquired by Nike, the Clone X stuff. So we've been around for a little bit. We're considered OGs, I think, in 3D from Web 1 days. And that's us.
Web 1. Oh,
Yeah.
Windows 3.1. Let's go. So absorbing everything you guys just said, I think a good starting question would be, I wanted to start with GameFi, but then he said, big, huge previous Web3 bridging the gap kind of community. And
Are you saying that he's more interesting?
no, we're going to get to GameFi. I just think like bringing the communities from older systems into the new age, like, the NFTs and identity systems, distributed ledgers, all that. Like, how exactly are you guys doing that? And what are you doing to educate your people that you're essentially onboarding to how to behave in Web3, because it is, a no holds bar. It's an open sandbox, which comes with a lot of territory that can be good and can be bad. So how are you guys hedging that? Anyone?
Oh, is that for me?
Anyone? Yeah, anybody.
No, I mean, in terms of gamify, it's probably the only or one of the first ways to actually onboard those first billion people into Web3. I mean, the original thesis was that if you told gamers that they can potentially monetize their gaming experience or their time gaming, that they would all flock to Web3. I mean, we've proven that this has not been the case, that people are much more enticed by actual entertainment. You just finish your job and you kind of just want to go play some Fortnite and not necessarily have to worry about earning money so I think that's the thesis that I'm kind of going with right now is how can you create an entertaining experience, but also create a seamless user experience as well, where they don't have to interact with MetaMask, they don't have to necessarily know how to bridge tokens. And I think that we're getting there. I think this will be the theme going forward in this cycle is how do we kind of make it simple for people, for everyday people, for your next door neighbor to go and interact with Web3 applications without necessarily having a PhD in crypto. So, and I'm kind of curious to see, I've been talking to a lot of projects here, like a lot of killer applications, and it seems to be on everyone's mind. So I think that's a positive way forward. So we're definitely evolving as an industry in that respect.
Yeah, keep it simple, stupid. I mean,
Keep it simple.
World of War, not you're not stupid. But World of Warcraft is probably like the best example of like the first metaverse-ish kind of thing, because economy grew from that. Escrow bots were doing crazy stuff, trading what we call NFTs today. Like the founder of Wax was a big, huge, we were just talking about Wax back there, and he basically built that whole thing before it was called NFTs. So we're here and we're looking at a metaverse, and I think there are a lot of issues. Like the metadata layer isn't here yet. There's a lot of holes in the tech, and it needs to evolve. But we're getting there, and I'm curious to know how you guys are implementing some of these systems that will like hedge for future evolution, because I think that's important. There's a lot of dev stuff that's happening. Like cloud deployment specialists are doing crazy stuff with decentralized metadata layering and making it private, so that way like people on the blockchain can't exploit gaming mechanisms. So like it's gonna be huge, but in the meantime, what are we doing? Anybody?
I can go. I mean, so I think right now the most important thing to do in terms of like the next billion people is meeting them where they are. And a lot of the stuff that we do at Palm is not the most decentralized stuff in the world. So custodial wallets that look more like accounts, pay with fiat, like just making a safe system where someone can come in, they can buy an NFT, it is an NFT, it's on an EVM compatible blockchain, add third-party wallet support later. But if you're talking to a big community that is a fan community for a big brand, or a global customer base of a giant blue chip company, like they're going to get stuck if you say, yeah, okay, go and download this wallet and then connect it here, and watch out, don't turn your DMs off in Discord. Like, this is not stuff you say to normal people, right? Like we're too early. We're talking about onboarding the next billion people to Web3. We can't get 100 people into these rooms at these conferences, and that's okay. Everyone in here is early. We're all going to be billionaires, not financial advice. But we are early.
DYOR.
Yeah, exactly. But we're so early, right? And meeting people where they are, giving them an experience that they understand, and then show them the magic of Web3. Then show them why it's fun to be part of a community where you've all got the same PFP and all the great benefits and fun and features that you can have along with that don't exist on Web2. Once people have got their heads around that, once they understand why it's worth being here, then they'll do the extra legwork to be like, okay, you know what? Actually, I do want to connect my MetaMask wallet now. I do want to pull this NFT over here, and so really just sort of showing people why this is fun first, I think, is the most important thing.
Yeah, giving them a taste,
That's
right, of like, and then
I
incentivizing them to learn, right? Go ahead.
I've seen that a lot. Sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Okay. I've seen that a lot actually with this event. With Art Basel, if you see a lot of the events right now are a bit token gated. So you actually need to do that extra step to connect your MetaMask or to connect the wallet and get access to the events. So it's a bit of an educational step, and also like, yeah, you're getting the perks at the end, you're getting the fun experience, but hey, like just take the little bit extra step to do the onboarding. So I think that's a interesting way, like perk shops and token gated websites have been really helpful in doing that. And I think it's still important to preserve like the Web3 aspect of it. Yes, it's a bit more painful, but I mean, email was painful 20 years ago too, and it's just the growing pains of the technology, and then it will get easier. But I think since we're early, it's important to still do the things, try to move away a bit from the Web 2 ethos, where it's like, you know, this platform has ownership over everything. They can take everything down anytime, and give a bit more ownership to people of their assets.
Spoken like a true DEGEN.
Yeah, very
Let's
DEGEN.
go.
I was just gonna say, actually, I really like Matt's point about that when you kind of walk away from these conferences, like literally like next door to the seafood restaurant, like down the street, like nobody knows what's going on in Web3. We're actually like filming a show around here. It's called the Cyborg Sophia Show, and like we just go to the events. We were at the L Bank event yesterday, and we just talked to everyone. And there was a basketball court right across the street, and we just went there asking people like, do you guys know what's going on in this event? No, it's about Web3. Do you guys know what Web3 is? And nobody knows, which is so funny because like everything that we're building right now is like very tech oriented. And I would even add, like, my impression is that we almost wanted to stay DEGEN-y because we feel like we're a part of this subculture and that we don't want the adults to come in and like ruin the party.
They love ruining the party.
I never like adults ruining the party, but
I'm an adult ruining the party now.
I
I'm
feel
getting
like
old. I got
I'm
kids.
still an adult. I would say I agree with everything. Like, we got to make the onboarding easier. We got to make the experience better for like that type of thing. And I'll also say even from accessibility, even you read the mainstream news and you hear about like Bored Apes selling for 6 figures or 7 figures or other things like that. It also has to be accessible at a certain point too. So bringing more mass market, like consumer friendly prices. I think that's a good aspect as well. I think Polygon's done a great job. I think all the companies here have done a great job at like gearing towards that as well.
Yeah, no, I think in the forefront there has to be a balance, right? Because full decentralization has shown itself to be prone to a lot of issues, and full centralization has equal, sometimes even worse issues.
Web 2.5.
Right. We're still, yeah, like people say Web 3, I'm just like, this is still Web 2.3 if you had to ask me, and I hate using buzzwords, but bridging that gap is going to be a rough road, and we're trailblazing. So, how you trailblaze is interesting. I like watching how people trailblaze because, one move you make towards centralization today might not work for you tomorrow, and the same goes for decentralizing. I've seen pains on both ends. So the conversation needs to be discussed, and I think, it's crazy how we're having it in the front end, like in front of everybody as community. This stuff used to be backdoor. Companies were using this stuff, and they just had the system, and now it's decentralized. Anybody can access the system, so we're trying to make it transparent so that all of these little tribal silos eventually work with each other, right? So I guess integration with each other, like what's the plan? Like if you guys had to like figure out a way to bridge each other, how does that look?
So I think there's a lot of ways you can take that question. One of the ways we do it at Taffy and Daz is when we build something in 3D, we make it interoperable with all the different 3D file formats, with all the game engines. So you take something of ours, it's performant in Unreal and Unity, most of the game engines, even the O3DE, the Amazon game engine, and then Max, Maya, Blender, Cinema 4D, all that stuff, Snapchat, even into walled gardens, like where people are, if you fish where, the fish are type of thing from what Matt said, it's like works in Roblox, works in Fortnite, those types of That's the type of tech that we try to bring to help bridge that gap, because Web3 is about democratization, about decentralization, and we want you to be able to take your content and your NFTs to different, metaverses, different apps, that type of stuff.
Your render farms sound huge.
We do a lot of 3D rendering.
That
We
sounds
do
like
a lot
of
rendering.
GPUs.
We actually have a lot of outsourcing of that too.
What are you
So
mining when you're not rendering?
that might be a bit more controversial. No, I'm just kidding.
Man.
I'm just kidding. Nothing.
Controversy is the order of the day. That's why we're all late today,
Yeah,
right?
like our first NFTs were wax. That's what we.
Who was here for that? Anybody? Yeah, there we go. DEGENs for life. Let's go.
Heard of FTX?
Front of house was here. He's been here all day. Oh yeah, don't say that. We're not gonna say that word. We're gonna stay away from all that. I'm a peacekeeper. You know what I'm saying? So.
What you said backstage though.
Huh? Yeah, I know. I was like, let's start some drama, do some controversy. But now that I'm here, I'm just like, nah, I'd rather keep the peace. Have my drama for the day. So, but yeah, drama in communities. You guys are building communities. That's a good segue, right? So, how have you dealt with a lot of the, dealing with people's wants versus their needs, right? Because at the end of the day, it has to be sustainable for you too, right?
I mean, I can take that question, like as a DGen myself, being in these communities and working with projects that are trying to build communities. I mean, like I think the Discord model is we're kind of going away from that model right now, just because it's to kind of like have to scroll up all the time, and it just doesn't make sense. Like it makes
so many rooms,
so many rooms, so many groups. Like I'm on so many different groups. I don't even know which groups I'm on anymore. But the point is that the spirit of Web3 itself is that there is that community aspect where you have your hardcore, diehard fans, but then you go and then like most of the people are like, this is gonna moon and this is gonna 10x, and then that's not what this is about. So I think like the real fandom is still lacking. I think there is hardcore fandom, but in general, it's mostly retail investors, like very speculative. And yeah, like I think the drama is good in general for the project. That's kind of like free PR in a way. And
bad
we're
press
too
is good
comfortable
press.
with that.
Most
like,
of the influencers that got to that stage a little while ago used that model very well.
we need drama in Web3.
You do, and some of our biggest presidents in recent history use drama as a catalyst, right? It's a great thing. It's a part of the human flaw. We're human, right? And we're just attracted to these things for some reason.
But it's interesting that like you're talking about drama. I mean, I'm very active on LinkedIn as well, and like previously, I think before like crypto or Web3, like everyone was kind of just making announcements, and then you see this engagement of people kind of like reacting to the whole FTX thing, and like just being vocal about it, even if they do represent companies. So like it's almost like this sort of like DGen spirit is also passing on and transcending beyond Discord, which I think it's a good thing that people are a lot more transparent now than they were previously.
We just got the 5-minute. Get ready to get off, right?
Yeah.
So how do we close this out with a bang? Like, what's something that you guys pick that is going to be a topic of interest, and then we'll play with that.
Well, I would say this is the time for like brands and companies to reinvent themselves and reinvent kind of like their customer experience, and really what is a buyer. It used to be that Nike sells shoes and you buy shoes, and you buy the best quality shoes, and that's why you like the brand, versus now a brand can be so much more, right? They can create metaverse experiences, they can have concerts, they can create avatars that you like, and clothes for your avatars. It becomes almost like you attach yourself, your digital identity to a brand and what they offer. Like for example, I work with Bybit and Red Bull, and they created this Azuki activation, which was really fun because they have this jacket that is the Red Bull jacket, the Formula One jacket, so you can add it to your NFT. You can showcase that in the future. So things like that, where it's like, okay, I'm not selling a physical product anymore, so what can I give customers, or what can I do to create a loyal fan base, which I think it opens the room up for so much creativity and so many fun activations. And again, it drives that community that's like still at the core of Web3.
Yeah, it's the core. It's the floor. It's, like a lot of what you're saying about before about the speculative interest of things. It's hard. I think that's the hardest part about crypto is somebody could say something to you and they could be completely incentivized to do something because of the speculative nature, the sandbox that we're able to Bitcoin has 21 million supply, right, that will ever be minted. And that taught us that, if you put a finite number on a supply, like a number can go up a lot, right? So let's make 10,000 items. So if 10,000 people hold them and 10,000 people more show up, parabolic price movement. That's great, right? Until it's not. And you got a bunch of onboarders that came because number went up and they're just like, I want to buy this, go to the moon. And then dealing with those people and trying to inform them and educate them that we don't know what the whales are doing. We don't know what these people are. They're coming into the space. They're pumping and dumping. Right? They have incentive. We have to deal with that. Also educate our communities, right? And I feel like that's important. For everything I've ever done is when you're onboarded. If you just understand, you're a little bit late. You're a little bit late. We're early, right? When it comes to adoption, but as far as financial benefit in the open market, how much blood can you squeeze from that rock? How long can it serve you, right? Impact, all of these different things. But I feel like once Web3 gets to the point where it's in the background and it's running these services and it's easy to interact, like you said, accessibility, does that look centralized? Maybe not. Maybe the metadata layer will show up and we're able to store those things privately on the internet, and that makes GameFi, Metaverse, all of the stuff that we're working on full on go. And I hope it happens, and I hope you guys are a big part of that. I like you guys a lot. So I think, should we just call it, right? I think we're almost there. Preston, shut us down, bro.
I'll
Let's
say
go.
one thing that we say a lot at my company, whether we're talking with mainstream brands to bring them into Web3 or even Web3 native brands to mainstream, we always just say let's just do some dope shit. That's all we ever say. So
Great closer.
I'll close it like that. Let's just do dope shit, guys.
Let's do dope shit. You heard it here first.
That's it.